this is a set of drills I've come up with that, having tested it with players, it's really empowered players to learn how to play and how not to play, more importantly, with side spin. What we've done here is placed a book. It's a really good book, How to Make 100 Break, available on the internet. You place it in front of the cue ball, and with varying degrees of blockage of the cue ball, and we'll see how these pan out, because we're provoking ourselves into eventually miscuing to learn the limit of the cue ball, the maximum amount of side possible. Most players below 50 break standard are nowhere near the limit of the cue ball when playing with side spin. They're so scared to address toward the edge of the cue ball that they limit themselves in terms of aiming nowhere near the edge of the ball when they need side spin, and unconsciously they will then try and make a compensation, move the cue to one side on the delivery in an attempt to hit closer to the real extreme edge of the cue ball, because your unconscious mind knows a lot more than we give it credit for, and that's what a lot of these unstraight deliveries are for, the unconscious mind trying to correct a mistake that we've consciously set about doing. Although we don't realise it's a mistake, the way we've played the shot is wrong, and unconsciously we try and correct it very often. But straight delivery there, directly past the edge of the book, as you can see. Bit more side this time. Nice straight delivery again. Terrific delivery. And we want ideally the cue to remain touching the paper as it follows through. Let's see where this one finishes up relative to straight. You can see how close to the edge of the ball we are there. Excellent. You've delivered the cue straight and miscued, and you've stayed down in position as a discipline. That means you learn indelibly where the edge of the cue ball is. If you miscue, jump up in disgust, you'll learn nothing at all. You'll learn nothing and you'll earn nothing from the shot. But there you've learnt where the edge of the cue ball is. Once you've done that a few times, and then you can go less toward the edge, more toward the edge, until you miscue 2 or 3 times. Pick up a dud cue ball from the club if you can, so that you don't damage a new ball from a match set, for example. And once you've done that, we can go on to the next routine, which, when you're able to deliver straight with side spin with the cue, is the next stage of learning with side spin. So you line the balls up on the top cushion here. There's not too much side spin on this one. Let's see where this goes through relative to straight. You see the cue has followed the side spin that you've played, so you've deviated the line of aim of the shot that you're playing. So if the cue had delivered straight, we probably would have seen cue will go in this direction. But because the cue followed the amount of side spin, you've probably seen the cue will go in this direction. It's not an advantage, because judging, depending on the amount of side spin that a player is playing, this amount of deviation of cue from straight will change from shot to shot. So it's another inconsistency. It's not a consistent. It's not a constant throughout all range of shots. Let's see if this one goes through straight. We'll just take a couple of seconds to place the line. Let's see what we get. That's much better. And where's the cue ball gone? As we estimated last time, it's gone toward the blue. So if the tip is aiming at the brown at that speed and that amount of side spin, the ball, the white ball, deviates to the blue. Now different cues push off with different amounts. I use Accurate, which pushes off less than any other cue I've played with. on this exercise. I've never seen another cue that pushes off less. And doing this with different amounts of side, different speeds, different heights on the ball as well. Play this 10, 20, 30 shots until you've done 10, 20, 30 with a straight delivery, and you'll learn so much about the cue ball behaviour, and then you'll be at peace with how much the cue ball pushes off. A lot of this cue compensation and moving it to the right if you're playing right hand side is based on our desire to be in denial about how much the cue ball pushes off. If you had to if you could do nothing else but deliver the cue straight on every shot you played, you'd have to adjust the aiming of the shot according to how much side spin you played, how much power you were playing, and the distance to the ball that you were playing. Those three variables again that make a difference on how much you need to compensate for the cue ball: the amount of side, the speed of the shot, and the distance of cue ball to object ball. They're the only three factors that make a difference on how much the cue ball will deviate on a given table. Obviously a quicker cloth will push off more than a slower cloth, but within a given table they're the three variables that count. Great delivery there, and look at all the side spin you've put on. Fantastic example of a correctly played side spin shot. Bit less side spin on this one. Does it go through straight? That's pretty good, look at that. And I'm just asking you there to remove fixation on the cue ball. I've just asked you, did the cue ball go through straight? Did the cue go through straight? Yes, I think was the answer. Which would be the correct answer. And sometimes just either closing your eyes or having somebody put their arm in front of the result of the shot can get you more in touch with what the cue has done on a shot. Anyhow, the next stage, once you've done this and got familiar with the amount of throw-off you do, is from bulk. Yeah, you felt the cue going through onto the chest there. From bulk this is. You're on the bulk cushion, I'm behind the top cushion here, and that red represents the end red of the triangle. I've marked it with a piece of chalk on the table. Now we're playing a little bit of side spin here. Cue wasn't perfectly straight there, so let's keep playing that. Lovely straight shot, look at that, look how straight that delivery was. Fantastic. Let's have a look at this one. No, the cue has followed the cue ball there, which again is an inconsistency. The best way I know of being consistent is to deliver the cue straight. There are some pros who do this. They follow the direction of the right or left side with the cue. Others deliver straighter on delivery. What you're looking for is a consistent action. What I've found is that players learn side spin quicker, develop a more consistent action and a more reliable long-term future in side spin if they learn how to aim with a straight delivery. I found it very confusing, and following the amount of side spin with the cue can lead to snatches if you're not confident of how much to compensate for aiming, can lead to complications. And that's the beauty of staying down, you get to see where the cue ends up pointing. That was much straighter, well done. Encouraging you to stay down, anchor the chin on the cue to help you elicit whether you went through straight or not. That was better. And by the way, do this practice until you miss the red, until you hit it too thick, all the different aimings in between. Just experiment and have fun until you end up being familiar with where you need to aim to get this result. Nice view of where's comfortable for you to aim there, just between nose and left eye. Everyone's slightly different. Do you go through straight? Yes, you do. About thin quarter ball, lots of right hand side. And look at that cue ball for a professional break-off shot. Well done. Excellent stuff. So if that is where you want the cue ball, go through those side spin drills and you'll be able to do that every single time.